Have you got a message for the people who've been writing stuff online, guys?
She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia.
The World Breaking Federation has claimed Australia's athlete Raygun didn't get any points in her Olympic competition because the other athletes were simply better.
Allegedly, she corruptly made her way into the Olympics, and there's a petition going around to make her pay for it.
Sadly, breaking will not be returning to the Olympics in 2028. If Rachel's dance had anything to do with it, we may never know.
Besties, look at me, look at me, look at me. I've got one word to say to you. Rachel Gunn. Hey guys, it's Briar of Briar Chats, and this is a safe space for yappers. Now, originally, I was going to do a video all about the chaos that was the 2024 Olympics, because yeah, it's true, there was a lot of chaos. However, there was one chaotic event that has led to many other chaotic events that rose above the rest, that stood out in its green and yellow tracksuit beyond anyone else. And that was Rachel Gunn, the breakdancer. Now, you do not even have to be chronically online like yours truly to know the breaking name Raygun, who was the female breaking performer for the Australian Olympics team, and she got 0 on her Olympic scorecard. And well, as I'm sure you saw the performance, chaos ensued. So if you guys simply wanted to yap about Raygun, her performance, and all of the conspiracy theories and reactions that have come out because of her breakdancing performance, stick around because we're going to get into it. Now, I know what a few people will be saying right now. Your hair's very frizzy. True, but they would also be saying, I'm being a hater. I'm just a girly pop with questions. We've established this, but if you're new, hi, girly pop with questions. This is not to tear down Rachel as a person. However, this is not the participation trophy Olympics. This is not like a silly, goofy community event that you enter into for funsies. This is the Olympics. This is literally the world stage. This is establishing the best in the world at all of these sports. So I feel like, and don't worry, we'll get into it, I feel like it is kind of valid and fair for people to question if someone is put on an Olympic stage and it doesn't quite seem to add up. The math ain't mathing. And that is simply all we're doing. We're simply chatting about the whole situation. We're simply having a couple of questions. But in no way is this to say anything about Rachel as a person. I don't know her. Yes, I'm from New Zealand, but that, shockingly to some people, is a different country to Australia, and I don't know her. I don't know her in real life. I don't know her intentions. However, a few things have come out since her internet breaking performance, and I think it's worth yapping about. So let's simply get into it. If for some reason you have not seen her performance, I thought we simply must watch it. There is just no way that I can describe it to you. You just have to consume it with your eyeballs. So let's simply watch it, shall we?
I'm a star.
Video alone has 18 million views on TikTok, and that's not even her video. That's just someone reposting her dancing. And so, yeah, I think you can fully understand why this caught the internet's eye. Like, we were like, that's not really what I had in my mind what Olympic level breaking would be. To me, I thought it would be a little bit different. But you know, because it's newer to the Olympics, people were like, maybe we just don't know. Like, maybe we don't know. And then we saw the competitors, and then we heard that she didn't get a point, and we were like, oh, okay. So it's not that we don't have a keen eye for breaking. The judges agreed. So after that performance, other videos of Raygun came up and sort of being like who is she? Like, who are we? We needed to know who Rachel Gunn was.
When I started breaking, I absolutely never thought that it was going to be in the Olympics, and I know that's the case for pretty much all breakers, to be honest. My name's Rachel Gunn. I'm a lecturer at Macquarie University, and I also go by the name Raygun. Explaining what breaking is actually a really hard question because it's so many things. It's a dance, a sport, a community, a culture, a lifestyle. I was introduced to it by my boyfriend, who's now my husband, and my coach. I met him when I was 20, and he introduced me to this dance and to this culture. And it took me a few years, honestly, to start training because I didn't have the upper body strength. I came from a more choreography background. It was a really huge learning curve. Australia, we're definitely the underdogs coming into this, but you know, that can also work in our favour because people might underestimate us.
People quickly started learning things about Rachel Gunn, and one of the main things was her day job and her boyfriend, now husband, being her coach. Like, these things, none of it felt accidental. Like, this is definitely going to come back up later because there's no way this is accidental. If it was me personally and I was a lecturer and I had to go back to Macquarie University and lecture about dancing after being given 0 points on the Olympic stage, I think I would just retire. I think I would probably do something else. I think I would move. That's just me, and I should not project my assumed embarrassment on her because she may not be embarrassed. However, as we saw with the dance, it immediately took the internet by storm, and a lot of people were comparing her dancing to different mockumentary and comedy characters, which I will show you now.
There's always a joker in the pack.
Grow up with the pleasure of Kath and Kim in your life and on your TVs. They are an iconic Australian comedy TV show that was playing in like the mid 2000s, I believe. And at this point, people are not doing this to be like, Raygun is a bad person, Raygun, boo, tomato, tomato, because like even the creator of this video is like replying to people in the comments being like, she's an icon. Like, you know, it's very positive. And I find that that's quite interesting considering how it was interpreted. But I obviously also acknowledge that even if it's like memeing in a good, fun humor, like that Aussie banter humor, when it's that big on the internet, it would be too much. And here is another kind of meme-y type video that came out as well.
36-year-old Australian breakdancer Rachel Gunn is everywhere right now for her viral last-place performance at this year's first-ever Olympic breakdancing event.
Hi, I'm Renata Bliss, and I'm your freestyle dance teacher.
What most people don't know about Rachel is that she's a college professor with a PhD in the cultural studies of breakdancing.
By day, Dr. Rachel Gunn is a lecturer at Sydney's Macquarie Uni.
Everyone, we're in week 7 now. Portfolio 1 due at the end of this week. somehow they'll see me something on TV or something on Instagram and they'll go, wait, is this you?
Hip hop is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, hit, and The more relaxed you are, that's what makes it hip hop. Boom, bam, every time. Or Start out just hitting it. This is what we call popping. Straight.
And I feel like that is the juxtaposition we were getting throughout a lot of the commentary online in the beginning was she's somehow this person with this PhD who lectures in dance and like dancing culture, but then is getting compared to the hip hop meme lady, Kath and Kim, Michael Scott, any type of meme dancing character, she was getting that comparison. And I think that was the thing, is like no one was really saying like, oh, this is a person, but people were definitely, saying, I'm not sure that this dancing's very good. I know it's an art, like dance is an art, so obviously at some points it's subjective, but you're also being put into a situation where it's being scored. Wait, no, dance is usually subjective, but this is making it objective. Anyway, so as you can see, like it is memed. It is huge. The numbers are huge. The views are huge. There's millions of views. And whilst people are not per se tearing her down as a person, I'm sure it would be pretty overwhelming to have that many people meme you. And so her coach actually spoke out on her behalf.
She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia. I love Rachel, and I think what has occurred on social media with trolls and keyboard warriors and taking those comments and giving them airtime has been really disappointing. If you don't know Rachel's story, in 2008, she was locked in a room crying, being involved in a male-dominated sport as the only woman, and it took great courage for her to continue on and fight for her opportunity to participate in a sport that she loved, and that got her to winning the Olympic qualifying event to be here in Paris. She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia. She has represented the Olympic team, the Olympic spirit, with great enthusiasm, and I absolutely love her courage. I love her character, and I feel very disappointed for her that she has come under the attack that she has.
Hear me out. Okay, wait, hear me out. Please hear me out. I feel like both things can be true at once. I feel like she can have battled in a male-dominated industry, come up against a lot of adversity, but that doesn't mean that you are the best or that you deserve to go to the Olympics because you had to face that. Because if you think about how many people try and get into the Olympics, like there's so many people that would have tried so hard to get into the Olympics that don't. The Olympics is not even really something that's like validates what you've been through. It may be if you are genuinely the best, but I don't think that you inherently should go to the Olympics because you went through adversity. Does that make sense? I really hope so. Please call me out, yell at me in the comments if I'm wrong. Like, you're going to sit there and tell me that I'm wrong? Maybe. But I feel like for me, I cannot help but think of all the other female breakdancers, not only from Australia, but that participated in general, because when you do something like this, it makes it hard for people to take your sport seriously. Like, yes, people are talking about breaking more than they ever would have, and it's having, like, there's so many conversations around it, but I don't know if that's per se positive. I feel like all the Australian women that maybe wanted to go for the Olympics that didn't, it's like now everyone in their life is like, you got beat out by that person. And then for other people, like, it was literally like, don't let her beat you because that's embarrassing and like that's your competition. Like, it just brings in a lot of things to question, and a lot of it just didn't make sense. Like, people found it really hard. Like, we're struggling to believe that she truly is the best female breakdancer. And I'm not saying that that means she's a bad person or, she's very charismatic. She has a lot of stage presence. She has the facials and the reactions. Like, she has a lot of those parts. And I feel like when you watch her, she obviously has like the core strength and, the charisma. But is she actually an Olympic level breakdancer? I don't know. I can't say, but those are my questions. And that is what a lot of people were questioning even after this person came out. And some very interesting things have come to the surface that may point to the fact that maybe, just maybe, things were the cards were kind of stacked in her favor, if you will. So let's watch some of those videos discussing that now.
The Raygun lore is just getting deeper and deeper. She was the viral Australian breakdancer who honestly made a fool of herself at the Olympics. But now there's a change.org petition that was posted this morning to hold her and Anna Meares accountable for the unethical conduct of Olympic selection that honestly went up like 200 signatures when I was on taking these screenshots. The description talks about the call for immediate accountability and transparency in the recent actions of Rachel Gunn and Anna Meares. Rachel Gunn, who is Raygun, set up her own governing body for breakdancing and allegedly manipulated the selection process to her own advantage. There are a lot of very talented Australian b-boys and b-girls, but they were apparently denied funding by Dr. Gunn to attend the qualifiers, which meant they couldn't showcase their skills on a national stage to get chosen for the Olympics. And she was the one, I guess, who was picking the people who got funded, and she didn't pick them on purpose. That's how she was able to win her own qualifier, because she is part of the governing body of it, which is raising questions about the fairness and integrity of the process. Because her husband is also the Australian coach and part of the selection panel. So they're demanding a public apology from Rachel Gunn and Anna Meares, and honestly wanting a full investigation into the selection process and audit of Dr. Gunn's business, which honestly I think is fair, because what we saw this woman do on a worldwide stage was kind of embarrassing. She did the sprinkler. She has a master's in creative dance, but that does not mean you can dance, and she proved that she really couldn't, when there are a lot more talented Australian breakdancers out there who didn't get the chance to compete because of her.
So the plot is so thick right now. It's thick with 3 C's, guys. Because what? This information is crazy to me. So she qualified because she was part of the governing body that created the standard. And not only that, but the group of people that chose who was sponsored to go. So it's like she literally chose people that she knew she could beat to verse in her own qualifier, as well as making up their own rules, allegedly, in this guy and everyone else's opinion. I don't know, ? If all this is true, that is literally so crazy bananas. It is quite 4D chess. She definitely stacked every single card in her favor. But imagine, this is my initial immediate reaction. This person is the face of dance culture and breaking, and yet she is now also being the gatekeeper and not supporting people who are actually really good and could have actually really represented Australia. Instead, she chose her own desires, dreams, whatever you want to call it, to put herself above them. And to me, that's really sad, because the fact that you are this person that's this face, you've got a PhD in dancing, you lecture dancing, imagine all of that impact that you would have on that community. And then not only do you kind of embarrass that community, not only do you make up the governing body in your country for that community, but you make up the rules, you don't select the people who have actually earned their place. And you did this for what? Time and place. And you did it at my birthday dinner. Anyway, here's another video to elaborate on that.
It goes without saying Raygun's breakdancing at the Olympics was a tragedy at best. However, when I was watching it, my question was, how did we get here? Specifically, how did she get here? And after a few hours of digging, I think I finally have an answer. Okay, so boom. Who's to blame? World Dance Sport Federation. Let's go back in time. So for years, they've been trying to get ballroom dancing into the Olympics, and every single time they've been rejected because ballroom dancing is seen as dated. So the World Dance Sports Federation is like, okay, how can we get in? How can we get in? Breakdancing. And they made their bid in 2018, and it was improved in 2019. The issue with that is breakdancing is not a sport. It's an art. So how do you turn something into a sport? And not only how do you turn an art into a sport, what are the parameters around it? Who is the governing body? When this was announced, there was a whole lot of backlash from the breaking community because they did not want this art, this piece of culture, to become commodified and turned into a sport, because that's not in the spirit of breakdancing. Not only that, but the World Dance Sport Federation, they have no background or backing in breaking. Their background is in ballroom dancing. However, the IOC, the Olympic Committee, was like, figure it out. So what the World Dance Sport Federation did, that's a lot of words. We're just going to call it, though, WSDF from here on out. WSDF is still too many letters. You know what? We'll just call them World Dance. So what World Dance did for breaking was create their own governing body and then started having competitions regionally to qualify people for breaking in the Olympics. Remember, there are people in the breaking community who were very against breaking being a part of the Olympics. So even though they were really good, they were not going to join and enter into these competitions. That right there already dilutes the talent pool, because there are talented breakers, but if they're against this being commodified and being an Olympic sport instead of remaining an art form, they're not going to attend these competitions. To even enter these competitions, you have to be a member of World Dance, which costs money. There are some people who were not able to pay for the registration fees. I did a quick Google search and it was $80, but still, you don't know what anybody's financial situation is. To me, it could be like, oh, that's $80, whatever. To somebody else, they may not be able to afford it. Now, yes, there are other breakdancing competitions going on in Australia. However, the World Dance, they were the feeder to the Olympics. So if you wanted to qualify for the Olympics, you had to show up to a World Dance breaking competition, only one of which was held in Australia. In all of Oceania, there was only 2 federations, one in Australia and one in New Zealand. So if you were not able to make it to the one location that they were gonna have, you were not able to compete. So what does this woman, Raygun, have anything to do with this? I think a lot of people had this misconception that she just showed up to this one competition and won, but she's been winning competitions. She is just not competing against the best. I did see a lot of people saying the only reason why she won the qualifier to go into the Olympics was because her husband was a judge, but these were all the people that were judges, and I don't see her husband on the list. Fun fact, her husband is also a professional breakdancer who has won his fair share of competition. So I don't know what that tells you about the state of breakdancing in Australia, or how they're being judged, or how these committees are being formed, who is on the committees. And so no, her husband was not on the judging panel, but he is not only her coach, but a team coach for the breaking squad at the Olympics. Her husband is also the one who is responsible for the vision behind the routine, because they wanted to do something that represented Australia. So all of the hopping was to resemble the kangaroos. So yeah, if you were interested in what was the reason behind Raygun's performance, how she got there, I did hours of research, so you don't have to.
And we thank you for your service. Thank you very much. Thank you for your research services. Because yes, it makes sense that I don't think he was a judge, the husband, but I do think that him and her were part of these organizations, the World Dance organizations, that created the rules so that she could qualify to win. And I feel like when you know this, it's no longer, oh, but she just really did her best. Yeah, she really did her best to rig the game, to get to the Olympics. But then what? Like, you did this for what? To embarrass yourself in front of millions of people in Paris? Are you happy to be in Paris? Oui. I don't know. Like, that's the one thing I will not understand. And I'm like, is this like one of those things on Australian, on American Idol, where like they think they can sing and no one around them has told them that they can't sing, and they're just like really shocked and don't believe it when Simon Cowell says that they can't sing? Truly, genuinely, and honestly, what did Raygun think was going to happen? Do you know what I mean? Like genuinely, what did she think was going to happen? Like, did she think she was going to win? Did she just want to go to the Olympics? These are the questions that I don't have the answers for, and I don't understand. And I don't know if it's because they were able to get this far that you're like, she's really good. Like, they thought that they were like, this is Olympic level stuff, guys. But when it came to the Olympic stage, even with all of that, even with other people being suppressed and not entering and wanting it to remain an art, even after all of that, you got no points. 0 points for you and none for Rachel Gunn. Bye. I don't know. It's so confusing to me. Like, this is so much effort to be a little bit embarrassed on a world stage. I don't think people dislike her, but I think knowing this adds like quite a different layer and a level and a perspective, if you will, to the whole situation, because all of a sudden it's not, oh my gosh, they just don't know how to break dance in Australia and she was trying her bestest, guys, to there was intent. This was a calculated effort and she made sure she would be there. So you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. There's just one other video that I wanted to show before we wrap everything up.
Yesterday I went to a breakdance event in Melbourne and there were so many breakdancers there, local talent. It was beautiful to see. And the most common conversation at that event was just asking people, do they know who Raygun is? And most of them had one thing to say. They didn't know who she was and they only knew who she was. And most of them only knows who she is now because of how she has competed in the Olympics. And I did ask someone about how people are getting selected to compete in the Olympics and how they would, compete in different tournaments around different states in Australia. And most of them did not even know who she was. So I'm just very confused about the selection process of how a athlete is, considered the best in a country and sent international to compete to then produce something like what we've seen. And mind you, I'm not a breakdancer. I can do certain things, but I'm not here to, say that I'm professional. But again, I think whenever you go to compete in a sport, you don't make a of it, which I feel like that's exactly what Raygun has done, to then go online and use this viral moment for you to monetize it. Just shows that you are literally taking the piss out of a competition that people have trained years and years for them to achieve. And you are in that space, which you should be so privileged, but you're being so ungrateful.
And I think that's just the thing, because yes, I feel like every sport probably has a community and a culture, but I would imagine breaking being a more small community and being dancing in an art and something that has not been turned into a sport before, it's just different. And for her to say she's representing it on all of these levels, yet when actual people in the community are asked, everyone's like, I've never seen that woman before in my life. I've never heard of her. Who? Ray who? It just doesn't make sense. And to me, it's just really sad that she has now become the face of probably a dancing community that she's not even really a part of. And instead, she's kind of manipulated, created her own rules so that she could go to the Olympics. But what do I know? I don't know how much malice to add to this. I don't know if it's just a delusional millennial with a dream. Or is it something more than that? Or is it just the dream was to go to the Olympics and they found a way to do it? Should we really be blaming the Olympics for allowing this to happen? I don't know. Guys, whose fault is it? However, there's one thing that I do know for sure. There's always a joker in the pack, and there's always a lonely clown. And there is a jester, just a fool. As foolish as he can be, there's always a joker. That's the rule. But fate deals the hand and I see the Joker is Raygun. The Joker is me. Sorry, I had to do the Kath and Kim intro. Sorry, guys. It is giving Kath and Kim. It is giving this is not serious. This is some sort of The Office mockumentary. How is this real? How was this at the Olympics? How did this happen? I would love to know what you guys thought about this whole situation. I really don't know what I'm going to do now that the Olympics is over. I feel like that was my whole For You page. What was I even interested in before the Olympics? I don't know. But yes, I would love to know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Am I taking it too seriously? Am I not taking it seriously enough? Or am I just being just enough serious? Let me know in the comments down below, as well as all your thoughts and opinions, because you always have such good ones. So let me know in the comments down below. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. If you stay till the end, you are a real one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to keep up with me between my uploads, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and I will link my vlog channel down below. But don't you worry, guys, because I'm not funny there either. Bye.